Streets 993, your choice of hip hop and R&B. C-Dub is up in here, man. I'm telling you, I'm always bringing great people in here doing some good in the hood. And today, we're going to talk about how to better your home. Some of you guys are homeowners out there. If you're not a homeowner, still need to pay attention because we're going to get you into a home, okay? We're going to get you into a home. But right now, we want to talk about some things that you might not know about your home or how to protect your investment, because your home is one of your biggest investments that you need to have protection on. But I got my man Terrence Blakes is here, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about how did you got everything started and get off into the lumberyard. But tell everybody about who you are and where you from and what got you off into the lumber.
Okay, well, good morning, and it's a blessing and an honor to be here. Mm-hmm. And you brought me in on a subject that I just had been in the business for 30 years.
Okay.
After I got out of the Marine Corps serving this country, I was hired by a big box store, started from the bottom, and within about 10 years was running their operations. And for that to happen about 25 years ago, that was very rare for individuals that grew up in an urban area. And I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
I was born and raised in the D.
Okay.
But been down here married to my bride for almost 30 years, so I've got that Tennessee or country twang my mom would say.
Yeah.
So within that realm, did that as I was going to college, got my business degree. And eventually went got my doctorate, and I've been pastoring locally for almost 20 years. Okay. And within that realm, on the same page, I had the opportunity to purchase a local lumber yard that was been in operation since 1946. So with that being said, I'm probably the only one, unless someone could chime in and tune in, of another one that's owned and operated from someone that grew up in the urban area, to say the very least. So as far as jobs and knowledge and product knowledge, everything from the foundation to design to engineering, that's been part of the thing that I love. Currently, kind of outstretch the business to where we're more than just bricks and sticks. Okay. And you may be saying, why is that? Well, if you go in any big box store, and I'll share those two names, Lowe's or Home Depot, when I first got started in the business, we had a lumber yard, and it was like a half an acre or acres of lumber just everywhere. But if you go inside that store, those big box stores today, those stores have, essentially have 1.5 aisles dedicated to lumber. Right. Why is that? Well, the reason is the same. I'm going to give you the answer. There's no money in bricks and sticks. You got to sell so much volume in order to make a profit. So when you think about those stores, what part of the store is mostly dedicated to a particular individual? It's my wife. So if you go to the flooring department, if you go to the paint department, if you go to the cabinet, those areas have the most square footage in those stores, because that's essentially who they're trying to bring in, because in the normal household, that's who makes the business decisions as far as what we gonna spend.
Yeah, the
I could care less
and everything.
what a cabinet looks like. I could care less what paint goes
up on the wall.
Yeah, as long as I got the TV on, I got the game and my recliner and remote, I'm good.
Right.
But all the other stuff, that it's mostly dominated by women.
Yeah.
And so I realized that as far as my new game plan and vision when I took that business over. And so what I thought about was bringing in wood that you cannot get from your big box stores. So I've got imported Bolivian rosewood, I got canary wood, I got wingate from Africa. I try to have different types of woods, and in this particular market in time, everybody wants wooden slabs, those thick slabs that make tables. I've also kitchen tables, and so that's when I invested in dedicating an area within my store to where I have a guy that works for me that's an excellent woodworker, and we create those things in shop. And so I even wanted to take it another step higher to whereas granite and marble is sort of king right now as far as countertops and things of that nature. Everybody when they selling a house, I guarantee that one of the first questions a prospective customer asks, does it have granite? Okay. What individuals don't know is that there's a lot of other natural resources out there that you can utilize that possibly, in my opinion, looks better than granite.
Why do you think people are so adamant about granite?
It's the end thing. It used to be, and I'm gonna tell my age a little bit, but some of the listeners that's out there could identify. Before granite and marble came on the scene, there was a product called Corian. Corian was one of those types where you get it in several different colors. The sink was molded up in it, and that was king. If you went into any big box store 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they had all Corian designs. So it's just the end thing right now. If people kind of, I get countless individuals. They'll bring me a picture in from Pinterest and say, can I duplicate it? So what they see is what they want to have. Whoever the biggest superstar is, and you look in their homes and things of that nature, whatever they have, I want to have. But there's so much other things and choices out there that can empower the homeowner that last a lot longer. It also is renewable, helping the environment, things of that nature. So I'm kind of privy to where I create, I design, I create from scratch. I have my own formulas, what I call stone countertops. A lot of folks say, is it concrete? Yes, I use certain aspects of the concrete base, but also add a lot more to it. I add mixes, I add fiberglass. When I create my stone countertops, which I can do in 20 different colors, I'm in control of the veining, the marbleization up in it. When I get finished with that product and formulating and installing it into your house or prospective area, because I not only do countertops, but I can also design tables, I could design fire pits, I could do fireplaces. Wow. But when I do that, and essentially when I bring all those products together and begin to pour, and it's more of an artistic thing for me, because I don't know which direction that I'm going when I begin that pour. All I know is I write a few scriptures on the form that I build and have that color and that vision in my mind, and I go to work and be led by that. But when I finish with that product and that product fully cures, you're talking about, you can set an elephant on that countertop and it will not break. That's the type of thing. People ask me, what type of warranty do you give? I say, I give the Methuselah warranty.
Old as Methuselah.
So they'll outlast.
Ever.
500 PSI. 500. We're going, it'll be stronger than your driveway is what I'm getting at. 5,000 PSI. 5,000 PSI per square inch. That's how much pressure that can take before it actually breaks. And because I dye it and color it all the way through, let's say, for example, somebody does have an elephant in their backyard and the elephant decides to sit on there. It breaks. Well, the way I design it is that we could bond it back together. I could drop another vein in there and you'll never know that it was even broken. So that's a win. A vein. Well, if you have granite in your mind, or you look at a rock, it's not completely flat. It's not completely one color. And so as rocks and marble and granite form over time, it breaks because it moves and then it's fused back together. That's what gives it maybe a different color striation, a different color line that's in there. That's veining, where it has broken and then come back together to form one solid piece. Okay. So you'll see that if you were little back in my day and you played marbles or something like that, and you look at the marble, it has different colors in there. That's veining up it. That's veining up in there. And making some simplistic terms there. But there's so much other things that you can do. So I just want to educate. You don't necessarily have to buy from me, but I want to educate the viewers, the listeners, that there's so much more than what a big box store is saying that's only available.
Man, we on the show today. I got my Mr. Terrence here from Shaper Lumberyard. It's out there in Columbia. We're getting the information on the show today. And if you're thinking about getting a home, there's some things you need to know. If you're already in a home, you want to upgrade your home. Get the equity out of it and invest it back in there so you can get some more money. Because the real estate ain't going down no time soon. So we're going to be talking about repairing doors. And also staining decks and what type of decks you need. Some of you guys got decks. You think about replacing your deck, think about replacing your doors. I'm learning so much already from talking to him off the camera. There's so many facets of doors. You just think that the door that you have that comes in there is the best door. It might be the cheapest door for the contractor to get you to buy the house to get you in there. But there's some things about some doors and some decks that we're going to get on the show today. I had a couple of people hit me up. And I want to start off with what are the most common issues homeowners face with their doors and that require repairs?
It can vary, and one of the things is that it depends on what type of door you choose or what you inherit.
What are the top main doors?
Okay, what the main doors that come to an individual's mind is a wooden door, or a steel door.
Okay,
but there's also a fiberglass door, and I'm gonna be real, since this is a real show. I don't get endorsements. I'm not getting paid for a particular brand or anything like this. Let's go over those three categories.
Okay.
Steel is probably the cheapest one that you can buy. Great door. You hear the word steel, awesome. But the challenges with that steel door is a few things. Depending on how your house is situated and how much rain or water that it gets, the maintenance and upkeep of that is just essentially almost like a car. If you don't protect it, it's going to start to rust.
Okay.
And so the maintenance of those particular doors are making sure it's painted at least once a year. Just because the color looks good doesn't mean the paint is not beginning to break down. And what individuals don't realize is when that barrier or that paint barrier is broken and the water has time, especially if we get a little bit of acid rain, to attack steel, what is it going to do? Rust. Yeah. And if you don't catch it, it's going to rust all the way through. And before you know it, it's not really too much you can do besides take out a little bit of Bondo and kind of patch it a little bit and paint over it or replace that door. Another drawback with steel doors is the simple fact that it can ding easy. So if you got a bunch of kids, you going in and out of it, lawnmowers, things of that nature, it can ding easy because what it is, it's not a solid piece of steel. It's a certain gauge of steel that's a skin on the frame of the door. And so it can ding real easy. Now we move on to, and it's a particular reason why I'm going in this particular order, wooden doors. People say, wow, I could get a mahogany wooden door. They see them in all these extravagant neighborhoods and things like that. But what individuals don't realize, once again, I'm going to be real with you. Wooden doors is one of the worst doors one could buy.
Really?
Here's the reason. I'm going to break it down scientifically for you. Okay. Unless you're a DIYer, unless you continuously work on your house, what individuals don't realize is that wood expands and contracts with the seasons.
Right.
It expands and contracts. So depending on what type of finish you have on there, and it's expanding and contracting. And I'm a proponent for not putting polyurethane on a wooden door, but oiling the door. Why oiling the door? Because when the upkeep, whether it's the middle of the year or 3 times a year, depending on where you live at, a person can essentially oil the door easier than stripping if it has polyurethane on it and then reshooting that door. Or again, if you have a handyman that's qualified, and I stress qualified. And knows what he's doing, because handyman, and we could talk about that one day, handyman could mean you know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but not an expert in anything. So if he knows about the proper care and maintenance, I'm talking about the edges of the doors, the back side of the doors, the tops, the bottoms, inspecting the seals, the sweeps, the threshold, then a wooden door could be a great thing. But if your door receives sun 9 hours a day, that's a problem. because
it's beaming right on.
It's beaming right on there, and
does the sun suck all the oil out?
Suck
of the door?
everything. What it's doing, the surface of that door, if it's 98 degrees outside, and the UV rays, if UV rays could give a person cancer, what do you think it could do to a piece of wood? And that's why a lot of products, you got to make sure, if you are polyurethane in it, and it's a lot of beautiful polyurethane doors, but you got to make sure it has UV inhibitors in it, in that polyurethane or whatnot, so it can repel the UV rays coming from the sun. And Lord forbid somebody puts a storm door on a wooden door. And I've seen that before. Well, what is that?
I was going to say, what's bad about that?
Okay, think about what we just said. The sun is coming through. You've got a piece of glass closed on a wooden door. If it's 98 degrees outside, what temperature you think is on the inside of that storm door? It could be 200, 300 plus. So what is it doing? It's number one, cooking the finish. Yeah. It's cooking the door,
the wood in the door,
and the door, which means and most folks don't go out their front door if they got a garage or something like that. So they may not even see it all year of what's going on. And then you look around, you spent anywhere at least $4,000 to $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 on a wooden door that no one told you that it has some maintenance that goes along with that. That either you need to do it or hire somebody on a schedule. There's plenty of companies out there that'll do it on a schedulized time, depending on how much sun it gets and things of that nature, to keep the beauty of that door. But I've ran into so many customers that didn't do that, heard and been a witness of lawsuits because they paid the money for the door. Somebody didn't tell them this, and the door has essentially disintegrated on them.
So we got metal doors, we got wood doors.
Now we move into fiberglass.
And when we get the fiberglass, and when you tell me about that, give me the price difference in the three too.
Okay, we'll start off with the wooden doors. Steel doors. Steel doors used to be able to go to the big box stores and you can buy them for $100. Right now, depending on what style they have, they range about $195, $200 and up.
Okay.
If we go to the wooden door, true. Now, what you'll find is many companies don't offer wooden doors anymore. And you may be saying that they did 15 years ago. Because the warranty that they have to put on these doors is pretty deep to cover their business. Because there's a lot of lawsuits that was going on out there many years ago because of the maintenance of those doors. So there's only specific companies now that'll put out that door, wooden door, and put the security measures down there just in case the average person doesn't do this one thing. So those doors, depending on if you're going with an exterior door, depending on the species of what you're going with, a plain 6-panel door, that means no glass, because we could talk glass for a couple hours if you start putting in the glass. But a 6-panel door, you're probably looking at least $1,500, $2,000
for a door,
for a wooden door, because
with no glass.
With no glass. And why is that? Because the material of that door, it has to be a hardwood. See, back in the day, you might have found a pine door or something like that put up in these older houses, or a fir door, or things like that. Nowadays, in order to put the type of warranty that they have to, it needs to be an oak door. It needs to be a hardwood that can repel the weather in case somebody didn't do what they needed to do. It needs to be a mahogany door. So those are the biggest ones that you'll find, oak and mahogany, that these entry-level doors are made of. Now, they can make doors out of tiger wood if you want to, but then you're talking about, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for them doors, because those are specialty woods, and we could talk tiger wood a different day, but that's the entry point in that. So depending on if you want side lights, transoms, and what type of glass that you want in there, I would be suspect of the door if it was less than $1,500. I would be suspect of that door. So if you shop in there and somebody's selling you a wooden mahogany door, it's probably hot. It's probably hot. So check that. And now we move to what I will stand up and give my AOK on fiberglass doors. Fiberglass doors come in smooth or wood grain finish. And when you might be saying, why why smooth or wood grain finish? Because now you have the option of either painting that door, or with the wood grain finish, you could gel stain it. What's the importance of gel stain? Well, you could gel stain it to make it look just like that mahogany door, now, or that oak door, or whatever door. You can stain it whatever color you want, and the wood grain in it gives it the look of actual wood. Now, what's the benefits of that? One of the major benefits about fiberglass doors is that it moves. So if somebody bumps into it, it's going to push in and come back out.
Okay.
Push it doesn't dent. It's not going to expand and contract. It won't rust. So if you're worried, if you're like me, who's never home, guess what I got at my house? A fiberglass door. Now I can put a bad wooden door. I can make a wooden door to go on, but I know I'm not home enough to do the oiling and things of that nature. So I got a fiberglass door at my house. Down here we get hail from time to time, where the ice comes down. Guess what? Guess what door it's not going to affect? The fiberglass door. Because it absorbs it and pushes it back out. So there's so many different advantages in that, in those doors. Another thing that's imperative to the question that you just brought up are some of the challenges that individuals have. If I challenge every single person listening, tuning in today, go home, and if you got a door that gets some sort of rain, look down to the left, look down to the right. In either one of those places, if you had that door for more than 10 years, it's probably rotting there. It's probably rotting.
I'm gonna start pulling up on some of my family members and
It's probably rotting.
Let me look down at the bottom.
Why is that? Because when they make those doors and they put the seal, which is an adjustable seal, it's a caulk bead. It's a bead that goes there between the jamb and the seal.
Right.
Well, water hits that, and normally in most of the stores and mostly doors that individuals buy, they buy it with a wooden frame. That wooden frame is finger jointed. It's not a solid piece of wood. It's finger jointed, and it's to where they take several pieces of wood, finger it, and glue it together. Well, with wood expanding and contracting and receiving some sort of weather or rain, it forms a crack. Then it starts rotting out. Any doors that I order, people purchase through me, I encourage you to look into it, is get PVC jambs. PVC jambs. I would not put a door in a new house, just my humble opinion, without having PVC jambs. And essentially what that is plastic jambs. Why is plastic jambs so much better? They don't rot. Okay. That's the thing. Because if you got a rotting jam, I can't tell you how many individuals come in my store seeking me for advice. And in my community, I'm known as the fix-it man. When they got a serious problem and trying to figure it out, they come and talk to us and see how they can how to fix it. So the challenge is when one part of that jam is rotted, it's not a one buy. So don't think you could just go to the store, get a board off the shelf, and that 3/4 inch board is going to fit into that jam. It's a certain size. So you've got to either replace that jam or replace the door. So why not on the front end spend a little bit more money to get those PVC or never rot jams so you don't have to worry about that 10 or 15 years down the road.
Man, that's good right there, man. We're talking about this information, talking about doors. What type of door do you have at the house? Go home, check it out, and DM us and put the comment down there and let us know what type of doors you have. How does someone know if their doors can any door be replaced?
Any door can be replaced. Now, let me explain this on that. When we talk about replacing a door, if you've got a door that's in a brick wall and your door is messed up, you're going to have to replace the whole door 90% of the time. Okay. And here's the reason why. And individuals come to me all the time and say, why can't I just replace the slab? What individuals don't realize is there's a reason why there's several hundred different door manufacturers. Even though that door may be 36 inches wide, it may be 79 3/4 inches tall from one company. Then another company may put it out as 79 5/8.
But it's still a 36.
It's still a 36, but it won't fit your hole because your hole is 79 3/4 and wherever you're trying to buy the door from, the door slab from is 79 and 5/8.
So how do you know what size door you have?
Well, you can know the size of the door by the width, but what we're talking about is can you replace the door? What are some signs to replace the door? Normally, you have to replace the whole unit itself, including the jambs. That's
so
what I'm
you
getting
can't
at.
just unscrew it from the hinge, take it down, put another one up.
No, sir. In most cases, let me take that back. In 50% of the cases, I'll say 50% of the cases, because we're not even talking about something else. I'm just talking about the door height. Width doesn't matter. Door height. Let's look to the other side where the hinges are. Now, do you think that every door manufacturer used the same exact style hinge?
I mean, don't they? All the hinges are not universal. At
No,
Home
sir.
Depot and Lowe's? Come on.
No,
man.
sir. No. Now, they make universal hinges, but if I'm making Terrence's wooden doors, I'm going to make sure that even though it may be a 3-inch hinge, I may put a skew on one end to make sure I know it's my door, for warranty purposes.
Right.
So with that being said, if you order a slab, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to scribe that hinge out to fit the existing hinge that's on your door jamb.
Man.
So, in other words, as far as time is concerned, it's best just to swap out the whole door in most instances.
Let me ask you, what are the typical costs associated with repairing a door?
Repairing the door could be anywhere from, because silicone is high now, anywhere from $10 to and a lot of other places where it fail at is the weather stripping. If you go home, shut your door, and you can see outside, you need some more weather stripping.
Okay.
and that fails.
And elaborate on a little bit about the purpose of the weather strip.
The purpose of the weather strip, you go to your house, shut the door, you can see the daylight. If you got the AC on, guess where the AC is going? The cool air. Straight outside. If you trying to heat your house, guess where the heat is going? Straight out the house. So those are some critical things that you can save money, make money by just making sure that your weather stripping is still performing correctly and not letting money out of the house for free, because that's essentially what it's doing.
Are there any maintenance tips to prevent future door damages?
Yes. One is, if you don't have a wooden door and you like it, put a storm door on it. That protects it.
Okay.
So the storm door, a lot of them come with either you could have screening in it or glass to have venting, things of that nature, but that's a protective barrier.
Okay.
Another thing to do is, if you're painting your door, make sure you paint it and touch it up once a year.
Okay.
Make sure you check the weather stripping, because weather stripping could become compressed. It could fall off, things of that nature. Check the bottom where it normally rots at. If you've got a wooden jamb, that's where it's going to rot at first, where that caulking strip meets the adjustable seal. Make sure you run a bead of caulk through there. So those are some quick things that you can do, and mostly anyone can do to maintain the door, to prevent having to purchase a brand new door a few years later.
What factors should I consider before deciding to buy a new door?
Don't get caught up in the eye candy. The glass is fine. I've got a customer right now trying to help him out, but it's got the glass that they don't make no more. Fads come and go.
Yeah.
So the deal is, one of the things, the things that I would look at is the door so unique that if I need to replace it, could I replace it, as far as styles are concerned? The other thing is maintenance. How much maintenance can I honestly do, when you're real with yourself? That I can honestly do to maintain this door. Those are the two critical factors that I would suggest to the listeners, to the followers, to look at as far as when they're considering purchasing a new door.
Okay. Scenario. What if someone wants to add a door to the house? You got a front door, you got a back door. Maybe there's another entrance that they want to come in. How do you determine like the best location? Is there some type of, hey, a door can't go right here, or a door can go right here. Are there stipulations for that?
Yeah, so are you talking about if they're doing an add-on or something of that nature?
Yeah, I'm speaking of, I'm gonna use this scenario in my neighborhood. They cut the hole out the side of the garage and just added a door right there. Then they put some of that spray foam stuff around the edge, and then they use a razor and then try to cut it all off to edge it up. So they just cut a hole in the side of the garage.
Here's the thing with that. Depending on the age of the structure, we're about to get into some engineer geeky stuff. And the deal is, above every single door, there must be a header. And the quick analysis or the quick description of a header is that if you're cutting a hole in a wall, something has to carry the weight above it. Okay? So that's what we call a header. So some sort of header has to be put above that in order to do that. Now, one big stipulation with that. So let me back up. Not knowing the total circumstances of why that individual just cut a hole in the garage door wall and stuck a door in there. There's a little bit more to it. One of the things that you'll run into, especially when you're talking about coating, you can't put a door too close to a window. And you may be saying, why is that?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Because depending on the size of the door, and you got to go in the house for emergency purpose, and that door swings open with the doorknob, and it's too close to the window, it could bust out the window at the same time.
That's true.
And so if it is, what'll happen is, especially if you're talking about new construction and a new building, what they'll do, if it's within so many inches of a window, they'll make sure that bottom sash or the entire sash is made with tempered glass.
Okay.
And so that prevents it from it's maybe not won't stop it from breaking, but shattering. And so that's really, and the other thing that you're looking at as far as functionality. Okay, you just can't put a door anywhere and you could halfway open the door. And another thing that customers need to keep in mind, do I want an in-swing or do I want an outswing?
An outswing, yeah.
And a lot of individuals don't even know about an outswing door or the difference of that. And the quickest way I could tell you that is, in-swing door is when you walk up to the door, you turn the doorknob, you walk inside the house, the door opens inside the house. As far as an outswing door, you walk up to the door of your house
and you pull it out.
And you pull it out. And see, what individuals don't realize is a totally different threshold seal that's put on an in-swing and an outswing door. Some folks just try to get by, just reverse the door. It's a different setup on the threshold with that. It may work in a garage that's going to a house if you just flip the door around, but if it's an exterior door, it needs to be an outswing because it's different hinges that go on there and everything.
Oh man, that's good to know. What questions should I ask a contractor before hiring them to put in a new door?
How many doors have you put in?
Let's start there first.
You just can't assume. You just can't assume. You can't assume those things. And the way you could kind of check to see is ask them for recommendations on what type of doors that they recommend. If they say any door that you want to pick out, you got to question it, because on two fronts. Really, the customer could put any door that they want to, but if I'm installing a door, I'm gonna try to lean them to the one that I may have the less problems out of. So he or she should go through the advantages and disadvantages that I just went over with you.
Right.
It's telling the difference. If they don't know that, suspect.
Really suspect. I got my man Terrence on here. Terrence Blake is giving us some information about doors. If you got any questions, just send us comments down at the bottom. Man, Mr. Terrence, thank you for being on that. What are the last? Give something right now for somebody who's sitting at home. They may be sitting down with their spouse and contemplating on replacing their door or even getting some information before they get. What do you want to leave the people with today about doors?
Desire to get product knowledge. Just don't buy what someone is pointing you in the direction to do. Sort of like when you go to a restaurant. What do? we look at the menu first. We study it first.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, exactly. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Get the product knowledge before you go shopping. There's plenty of YouTube videos. There's plenty of places like, well, I don't know if there's many shows like this, but at least find somebody that's willing to not so readily sell you something, but drop some product knowledge to empower you to make the correct purchasing decision, because doors are not cheap. Anything that you invest in your house is really not that cheap, depending on who you are. So you want to be have enough product knowledge, be armored enough to go in to make not necessarily the cheapest decision, but the most cost-effective decision, and a product that's going to fulfill what it says it's going to do.
That's good. Mr. Terrence Blakely's on the show from Shaper Lumberyard. Where can they get information about coming out to you, if they need anything from you? You got a telephone number, website, anything for the viewers?
We're located 103 Cemetery Avenue, Columbia, Tennessee. And somebody, you may say, Columbia, yeah, that's south of Nashville, but we deliver in Nashville too. I'm in Nashville, do all types of jobs, stone jobs, things of that nature. You can reach me at 931-388-3612. If I don't answer the phone, or my desk guys are not answering the phone, that means we're busy, or I'm out in the shop creating something.
Right.
Leave a message and we'll get back to you. If you have another question or something of that nature, feel free to email me at shapardlumberyard@yahoo.com. That goes straight to my phone. That's SHAPARD lumberyard@yahoo.com. I get questions all the time to feed me pictures, things of that nature, and I'll be more than glad to get back with you and set something up.
Terrence with Shaper Lumberyard here on the show. Make sure you guys following us on Instagram at IamDJCDub. That's at IamDJCDUB. And make sure you guys follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube as well, at Streets 99.3. And we'll see you guys in the next video.